All right, what is up, everybody? Joshua Smithy with my good friend and business partner, Jim Brown, with another weekly Forj Life podcast. Every single week we come at you guys every Wednesday at 2:30 p.m. Pacific time, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and talk about kind of everything health, fitness related, just about optimizing our health and fitness, optimizing our mind so we can go out there and operate as the best versions of ourselves. And today we wanted to talk about systems and the importance of systems and finding your own system that works best for you. And there's a couple different takes that we'll talk on this. Jim's going to go deep into, systems when it comes to, finding that right. A lot of people talk about different diet types and different, so many fad diets out there and different diet types, but how to figure that right system and protocol for your own self. And then I'm going to add in systems. When I talk about systems, more of daily structures and setting an environment and setting that up so you're not having to rely on willpower and anything and everything in between. So that being said, we'll jump on in. What's up, Jim?
How you doing, man?
Doing good, man. Doing good, dude. Just enjoying life, man. It's starting to somewhat cool down here in Phoenix, so it's getting nicer, man.
What, to 110? Is that?
Yeah. Well, this week, man, we're getting some 80s and 90s.
Oh, wow.
It's a nice break, dude. So, well, you used to live out here,
awesome.
so you know how it is. So, dude, let's just jump on into this, man, because I think it's so important because it's so many people, and I know it's a question that you probably get all the time. When people see you and see the shape that you're in, of well, what's the diet, and people can get so stuck on thinking they need to follow a certain diet or this type of diet's best and so forth. So when it comes to I guess diet and systems, like, what does that mean to you and what kind of recommendation do you give?
Well, a lot of time when people ask, well, what do you eat? And then they want to put kind of a label on it, it's low carb, it's keto, it's something like that. I think they're really missing, you're missing a lot of information, because a lot of people like myself, if I talk to a bunch of my peers, and you touched on it the other day, we were discussing our personal diets, and I pretty much know kind of roughly the amounts that I'm eating every day. If I'm really trying to tighten down, I actually weigh food, but really, 60, 70% of the year, I'm just estimating food and kind of amounts, but they're fairly accurate, but my system, the way that I get through life and not drive myself crazy by weighing absolutely everything I eat, I know what I'm eating. I've kind of figured out what I can and can't eat in approximate amounts. And if you talk to people like myself or you that's been doing this, you didn't really have a diet type. If we tried to explain to somebody or try to categorize what your diet way of eating was, it's a little difficult. But your system is what you figured out. You skip breakfast and you have a burger for lunch and a pre-made meal at lunch or whatever you had, and that's kind of something that you identified as successful. You figured that stuff out and then you replicate it. And with diet and workout and all that, the most important thing that you can do is be consistent. And so a lot of people fail with like, well, I'm going to do low carb, or well, I'm going to do keto, or well, I'm going to do this. It doesn't have to be something like that. Once you identify something that becomes successful, all you have to do is make it something that you can repeat and be consistent with, and do it over and over again. So if that means just counting your calories in the beginning, if it means omitting carbs and not eating sugar and just having 3 meals a day, whatever it is, it's identifying what's going to work for you and then just being consistent with it. And I think that's the most important take or thing to ask. Like if you see somebody, maybe like me or like you, somebody looks at maybe the way that, we have some muscle mass and we're leaner than most people. Instead of just asking, hey, what type of diet do you do? I would want to kind of ask, well, what's your day like? How do you manage that? How do you stay consistent, or how do you repeat that day after day to continue to be in the shape year round?
Yeah. So how would somebody, if they're wanting to go down this journey, identify, I guess, what that best system is for them or what that best protocol is for them? Because it's, I talk to people all the time that are in great shape that, do completely different things, but
Right.
but different things can work different from different people. So how does one kind of identify, is it just testing, and seeing which works best for each one of us individually?
I mean, I continually test. When I try a different protein or I try a new food, I go to a place where I'm very consistent for a few days with my meals, probably weighing it out, and then I add in that new food and see how it reacts. And initially I'm going to know digestive wise, I'm going to know hunger, taste, all that stuff to see if it's going to actually work for me. And then I'm going to test it in the gym because I'm at a point where any variation in my routine, any variation in sleep, food the day before, food the day of training, I'm able to tell. So that's kind of how I test. But we touched on it before. When you're starting out, I always have people start with very simple foods that they know is going to work in a mostly protein, very simple carbohydrate, and then you experiment and kind of get a database of food that works for you. That's how I usually start people out, or my clients. We start very simple and then start adding. You do have to kind of have an idea of how much food you can eat. You do have to have an idea of how much calories you can take in to reach, either gain muscle or to lose body fat. And once you have that figured out and kind of a base of foods, then you can come up with a way of eating, something that you can reproduce over and over again. And that might be, something like, I mean, part of my system is it gets a little bit more complex. I either have to carb up or reglycogenate my muscles once a week, or I can drag on and suffer through it if I'm really trying to lose body fat and then, ramp up. But there's a couple of variables, but once you start to figure out roughly how much food you can eat, how many calories you can take in to accomplish your goals, and then a base list of foods, I think that's kind of where you begin. And it could be, any diet modality. It could be keto, low carb, high, protein, vegan, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Then, so going, when I think of systems, because I think of everything from a business aspect, it's like you got processes and then you got systems, and systems and processes. I mean, they live together in the same ecosystem. They intertwine, but it's like the process is the step-by-step action that gets you the result that you want. So you got these processes, these instructions, if you will, that live inside of a system, and the system helps keep you on track, keep you consistent. So, the example I always give is thinking of a cookbook, right? The cookbook itself is the system. And then you fast forward to a recipe inside there, and that being the process. And, so I know that you've got some systems that because like, look, man, you are busy on the road every day, working with the physicians that you work with and the hospitals, and, going out there and, selling high-end medical equipment to these hospitals. So it's, like you don't have the luxury that I do of being in an office. Like I got a microwave, I got a freezer, I got a, little kitchen, and I'm in the same place all day. Like you're on the road, and then people that do all on the road, like realtors, for example, that, I'm in the real estate industry. When you're a lot of realtors are out with clients every day, or whatever it may be, what are some of the kind of the systems, protocols, whatever you want to call that name, that help keep you on track where you don't all of a sudden wind up out of food, hungry as hell. We know when we get super hungry, willpower diminishes, and next thing you know, you're going through, I don't know, Wendy's drive-through or something.
Well, actually, that Wendy's drive-through is one of my contingency plans, because you can literally get just a burger patty by itself and a plain baked potato. So that's actually, but my big rule of thumb is I don't leave the house without food. I've had a cooler in my car sitting next to me for like 20 some years. And actually, I think the same cooler. But it's if I leave the house without food, then I either know that I'm going to be back soon, within a couple of hours, or I have a plan in place to where I'm going to eat or something. Because the worst thing to do is either skip meals for me, or then be in a position where I'm just going to eat whatever I can get my hands on. And that being said, the Wendy's thing is a contingency plan for me. It's the burger patty is typically a little bit more fat than I want that meal, but that and a plain baked potato is a go-to. Emergency mode, you can go into like a CVS or a grocery store and get a can of chicken breast and a little cup of pre-made brown rice. But I would much rather eat prep food than grab that. But that being said, for me, one of the biggest keys to being consistent is to make sure that I'm not in a position to miss a meal or to eat something that's not really ideal for me. And especially if you're working out of your car, you have to. Otherwise, either you're going to miss meals and then catch up later. You're going to be in a state of hunger, like you said, or you're going to go out to lunch and do something you don't want to do. That being said, almost anywhere where you go to eat, you can get a Caesar chicken salad. You can get things that are compliant and going to be something that'll be not throw you off track or blow you out of the water on calories or whatever.
Yeah. So it sounds like the key there is success is really in the planning. So you're
like everything.
Your meal prep, you're probably calendaring, your meetings and so forth. Just to be intentional, so you don't put yourself in a negative position.
Right. Yeah, you have. And I hate to use the word meal prep because that scares a lot of people off. But yeah, I mean, I have to take food with me because if you don't, missing meal is just as bad for me. It's just as bad as not, eating something off plan.
Yeah, and for those of you that are watching or listening to this, that don't like to meal prep, or sometimes we just got to deal in realities, dude. Like I've had to come to that conclusion of I would tell myself week after week, okay, well, I'm gonna start meal prepping, and then I'd be consistent for a week or two, and then I'd get busy or lazy or just wouldn't do it, and it was just a roller coaster. So finally, like you got to kind of deal in realities of what our behavior is and shows. So for me, I'm like, all right, I just need to create, because when I look at systems, and when it comes to this stuff, I want to have systems in place that allow me to win and increase my likelihood of creating success. And again, whether that be business or whether it be health and fitness, it's all the same thing. I mean, success is just right daily decisions made each and every day, all throughout the day, that combine over time and create success. So it's all about being consistent. So, again, dealing in those realities, it's like for me, okay, I know I'm not going to meal prep. But there's a bunch of meal prep companies out there. So I just, schedule it where I have it. My meals get shipped to me. They arrive every Friday where I have my meals that I need for the week. I keep them in the freezer, and I go through a company. There's a bunch of them. I go through a company called Icon Meals. It's not an affiliate of ours or anything like that. There's a bunch of them out there. It's just the one that I found that has the meals I want, but also tastes good for me. I don't want to I'm not one of these guys that can just choke down. I mean, I just don't enjoy it as much and have a more difficult time being consistent with it, of choking down just plain chicken breast and rice for every meal. So it's got a little bit of taste, but, higher protein, low carb, whatever. You can pick your meals and a ton of different options in there. That sets me up to win. So then I never in a position where I don't not have that meal. And next thing I'm door dashing something to the office that's shit and junk, So I'm going to correlate this to when I quit drinking. I discovered years ago at a point where I had a problem with drinking. I needed to quit. I'm talking about alcohol here, and but I knew I couldn't rely on willpower. Like I played that game too many times, and I just had to come to the point of, again, dealing realities and realizing, man, I'm a weak human being. We all are to an extent. I mean, some people might have more willpower than others, but I'm like, look, dude, I just can't rely on willpower. If I set my systems up and my environment up to win, then I don't necessarily need to worry and rely on willpower so much. And if you don't put yourself in the position, in the situation, it makes it easier to succeed. So I try to create my environment and put systems in place within that environment that make it very easy to succeed, very difficult to forget, and very difficult and hard to fail. Right. So, when I quit drinking, because I had a bad problem. I mean, when I say problem, I mean, I don't know if you want to say, alcoholic or whatever. I mean, at that time I was drinking, a 24, like a case of beer a day, for years straight. I couldn't make it till noon without drinking. And, but I was like, all right, this isn't serving me anymore. I got to drop this bad habit. So first thing was making the decision to commit. I don't think that this is stressed enough, you guys. You gotta make that mental decision to commit. It wasn't one of these things of, oh, I'm going to try to quit drinking. It was, nope, I'm done. I'm going to quit. Like I made that decision to fully commit. Then I had to look at my environment. So I made sure to remove all the alcohol out of my house. Like anything I had in the cupboards, I don't care, right? It was just gone because I knew I'd have those weak moments and I'd go at it. Then I was like, okay, hey, what environments would tempt me where if I had a weak moment, then boom, I could cave in, that would allow me to slip back. And I removed those. So like for 6 straight months, I didn't go out to eat. I didn't go to social gatherings. I didn't go to an environment where I knew that I would be tempted. You know how it goes when you go to a barbecue and people are just like, oh, dude, you just have one. It's okay to have. And I'm just like, hey, look, I can't be in those situations until I've got control of this habit or this thing. And for me, that was 6 months. In my mind, it wasn't okay, I'm going to do this for 6 months. It was, I was going to remove myself from those environments for as long as it took until I had the routine, the discipline, and the internal strength, to say no, and I could handle those environments. So for me, that ended up being 6 months. So where I'm going at with this, with your health and fitness, like you might need to change up who you're spending time with. If you got maybe there's certain friends and certain couples that you and your spouse hang out with that, you find yourself eating worse with them. They've got worse, health habits and diet habits that you might need to restrict, spending more time with them until you get this dialed in. Restrict going to certain, restaurants or certain places that you binge. Right. I mean, at some point you'll be able to go back there. At some point you'll develop the power where then, you can have a little bit in moderation of that thing that you love instead of, but setting those up. Another example of a system is, like, okay, every morning it's like, I got supplements I need to take. Well, you can put on the right side of your sink or the left side of your sink, whatever side, your morning supplements, on the other side, your evening supplements. What's the first thing that you do when you wake up? You probably go, to the bathroom, wash your hands, maybe brush your teeth, but your supplements are right there. Right? The last thing that you do usually before you go to bed is brush your teeth and, doing your kind of evening routine before you go to bed. Boom, supplements are right there. So again, setting up your systems in your environment where it's easy to win, and again, difficult to lose. But you got to be intentional with this, because the reality is, you guys, if you rely on willpower, you're probably going to lose that game, because we all have a lot of willpower earlier in the morning, whatever. But as that gets later through the day and more of a stressful day, dude, it diminishes. And I find that the most successful people out there, whether it's business, athletics, health and fitness, any aspect of life, they don't rely on willpower, right? They put systems in place that allow them to go out there and win and succeed.
Yeah, you know Brian Cron. He's a successful trainer, bodybuilder guy. That's I would consider one of my peers, really smart guy. And he made the point the other day that Dorian Yates was a huge, famous bodybuilder, and very famous for coming in the leanest, hardest shape of probably I'd say arguably any of the bodybuilders in history.
Yeah, and even today.
And one of the things that he had said very firmly was, when he was dieting, they didn't have anything in the house that wasn't on his plan, and he legitimately was one of the most disciplined bodybuilders, motivated bodybuilders ever of all times. And he didn't have candy in the cupboard because he couldn't control himself. Set that system in place for him not to lose, for him to be successful. And I'll tell you for a fact, doesn't matter where my motivation is at the moment or how serious I am at the time. If I have 6 prep meals in the fridge for that day, I know I'm winning. I don't even have to think about it. It's discipline equals freedom, right? I know I have the meals there. All I have to do is get them out and throw them in the microwave or in my cooler and eat them. That's it. Yep. Don't have to think about it. So I really like that point.
Yeah. It's so important. And you guys, again, I mean, just again, deal with realities, because if things are super inconvenient, and it's like, okay, find a workout, a gym, wherever you're going to work out at, whatever style that you choose to move forward with, whether that be a regular gym, whether it be Orange Theory, CrossFit, whatever it is, it doesn't really matter, whatever you choose. But then again, that is, convenient for you to hit. That's on your way home from the office or on your way to the office. That is, and so forth, where, again, you increase your likelihood with that, because if you want to make this stuff as easy as, remove that resistance as much as possible to succeed with this stuff, and you will succeed. But one other thing that's important with this when it comes to system, I know I already hit on this, but I want to re-stress it, is like Jim Rohn, if you guys have heard of him. he's got a famous saying out there that you're the average of the 5 people that you spend most time with. So be cognizant of that. Your environment matters. Those that you're spending time with matters. And start spending time with more people that have serious health goals. And like here's a prime example. My wife and I started working out at Planet Fitness for a little bit of time. The other gym that we were at was just always so crowded, so packed. We started working out at Planet Fitness. Well, Planet Fitness, I mean, a great gym, beautiful facility, but their ideal client is heavier set people, right? For them, that's, who they target. And so you go in there, and when you're the best in the best shape, person in there at the time that you're working out and so forth, like it happened subtly over time, but I didn't really notice it, but I did over time notice it. It was gradual. It's kind of like boiling frogs, right? Where next thing you know, man, I'm slipping, but again, because I was in an environment where I was already the best shape there. It didn't challenge me in the way of going to the other gym and not near being the person in the best shape, right? So, just paying attention, and that sometimes that motivates people. Sometimes that doesn't, it's going to be different for everybody, but just paying attention to environment makes such a massive difference, and again, if you're spending time with those that you spend time with, and everything that you're doing on a day-to-day basis should allow you and allow you, inspire you, and assist you with accomplishing the goals that you have, whether that be financial, whether that be health and fitness, whatever it is that you have, it should help you get to that goal versus detract you and pull you away from that. So again, if you're hanging out with people, like I had to do all of this, man, especially my initial journey when I was morbidly obese and almost 300 pounds. And I wasn't a good almost 300 pounds like Jim, it was all body fat. I at 5'10", I had a 38-inch waist, and that wasn't my pant size. That was like true measure around my belly button. I had to wear like 40 some pants. Like I had to stop hanging out with some of the people I was hanging out with because they just wanted to go eat and binge and lay around, watch movies and binge stuff. I had to start hanging out with people that were, instead of going out there and just binging food or whatever, or going out and partying, I've had to find people that would go hiking and do more active stuff, so don't discount the power of environment. And because again, everything in your ecosystem should help you. It should inspire you and help assist you on staying on path to accomplishing your goals, and not create more resistance and pull you away from them.
Yeah. That being said too, you have to be okay with being the only one doing something too. Because a lot of your friends or a lot of the people that you're going to be surrounded with aren't going to have the same, discipline or desires or even goals or whatever as you are. And, I can't tell you how many times I've been in a gym at, Friday night at 10 o'clock doing whatever, years worth, or how many times that I'm the guy that's, ordering a steak and vegetables for dinner or whatever. But you should take pride in that. Take pride in that you're doing something different than everybody else. You don't have to rub it in their face or anything or feel like you're better than. But we're on our own journeys here, man. So sometimes it's going to be a lonely road if you're the only one eating salad and chicken. But that's okay. That's what you're going to have to do and be okay with. Just like if you want to be successful in business, if you want to be the best at your career, there's going to be a lot of the time where it's just you that sees the dream and you're alone.
Yeah, it is, man. It can be a lonely journey at times. That's for sure, man. The last thing I'll hit on systems, and this is just really playing back to that other point that I just was making, but also, be cognizant of what your schedule is. And again, this just comes down to knowing you. Like, I know for me, I'm stronger and better in the mornings, not physically in the gym. Like I'm going to be stronger in the afternoons or the evenings in the gym, pushing weight around. I'm talking from, discipline, willpower standpoint, where like, whether it be business, whether it be working out, whatever it be, like if I'm like, oh, I'm going to do it, I'll do it in the evening, man. It's just very rarely, it's a coin toss in the air if that gets done for me. But if it's like, okay, I'm going to do it, early in the morning and get it done, then I can be more consistent with it. Now, I think Jim's the opposite. You work out after work, right?
It depends on the day, man. It really depends on the day, but yeah, typically it's after work.
Yeah, so it's going to be different for everybody, but for me, it's like, dude, if I don't get my workout in early in the morning, like I wake up, I mean, that's the first thing I do. I wake up, I eat, get my pre-workout meal in me. I do a little bit of reading, then I hit my workout. Before my get into the office and my busy day gets away from me and so forth. But figuring out what that rhythm is for you as well. It's going to be different for everybody, but again, set yourself up to win. I just had to get to the point where I had to realize that, man, I can't be, it's not that I can't be, it's just that I wasn't, and I had to realize that point instead of continuing to battle. Okay, well, next week I'll be better. Tomorrow I'll be better. Tomorrow I mean, what's the busiest day of everybody's week? It's always tomorrow, right? But tomorrow never really comes for most. And, so again, just dealing in realities with that, you guys setting up that schedule and that system that works well for you. I've had to pick out, again, with that meal prepping, and I know I went deeper into this a couple weeks ago in one of these, but it was like, look, I got a quick and convenient, man. I don't want to waste time. Like, to me, I'm not one of these guys that will go sit in line. There's not any restaurant I've ever eaten in my life that's worth waiting 30 minutes to get into that restaurant. Like, I just don't like food that much enough. Yeah. Right. Well, same thing with cooking it. If I can't have it done and have it instant, then dude, it's probably not going to happen for me. I'm not going to go, cook in my kitchen for 45 minutes to make a meal. So I've designed my diet around that of, so like my first meal, man, it's Greek yogurt, hemp seeds, collagen protein, and a pre-workout shake. My second meal is a protein shake and piece of fruit. Like the most cooking I have to do is my last meal of the day, which I'll have 6 eggs and an avocado. Which takes, how long does it take to cook eggs? Right? That's pretty quick, and everybody's different, right? But again, just thinking about what that is for you, that rhythm that works for you and that style that works for you, that you could be consistent with, and just, again, dealing in realities with that. And so, again, all this correlates to business, to health, to anything that we're applying.
Yeah, I agree. Well said. One other thing too, just on the pre-made meals. I've even traveled, when I have to go to a national meeting or whatever, I've had Icon meals delivered to my hotel, and, it shows up in a box, 10 meals are frozen. You put them in the fridge in your hotel room. But, it's just one of the ways, again, going into a situation I know that I'm not going to have control of. I know that the food's going to be stuff that I don't really want to eat, and it's too many days for me to really just kind of blow it off and do it. And so you come up with a solution to make it work, but there's going to be a lot of times like that, but there's always a workaround for it. You can always stay compliant to whatever your plan is.
Yep. 100%. All right. Well, that's all we got for you guys today, man. We appreciate you guys jumping on here and checking this out. If you guys have future topics that you'd like us to discuss, just leave a comment. We check those. We see those on whatever channel that you're listening to this on. And again, we're here live every single Wednesday, 2:30 p.m. Pacific time, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure that you guys check out forjlife.com. That's Jim and my supplement company. Got some great products on there, great supplements on there that you guys can check out. So check out forjlife.com, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Thanks.